So let's get more on the G20 Summit. And joining me from Bali is Indonesia's Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy, Sandiaga Uno. Thank you so much for being with us. I'd like to start by just getting your thoughts now that the summit has concluded. You know, much of it was overshadowed by the Ukraine conflict and geopolitical issues rather than the usual economic focus. But are you satisfied with the outcome? Did it feel productive?
We are extremely satisfied with the outcome of the G20, whereby we, under the theme of Recover Together, Recover Stronger, countries focus on three priority agenda, which is the global health infrastructures, inclusive digital transformations, and energy transitions. We are very delighted that the Bali G20 declarations have been adopted, and leaders agree to focus on the food and energy crisis, making sure that countries work together to achieve the intended goals to accelerate the post-pandemic
Right.
recovery
I,
together
I gotta
stronger.
say, though, it seemed a bit of a diplomatic conundrum, to say the least. You know, we couldn't get a joint communique agreed to, so there was a declaration instead, whereby several nations were a bit reluctant, as we mentioned, to sign on. They didn't want to have to condemn Russian action in Ukraine. But do you think kind of the best balance was found to at least try to get everyone on the same page?
Yeah, Bali is the perfect setting because this is the mornings of the world, is where the island of the gods bring peaceful serenity, spirituality, and sustainability. And finally, leaders agreed on a format of the declarations. And towards the end of the second day, the president of Indonesia, Bapak Jokowi, mentioned on his very strong terms that we have to end the war, stop the war. So that basically is the final focus on how we here in Bali will take this thing forward. And we believe that this is a concrete declarations that have some deliverables, in
Okay.
particulars in the of food, energy, digitalization, sustainability, as well as strengthening the global health architecture.
Excellent. I mean, let me ask you this, though, specifically. As an Asian nation, you know, Indonesia's relationship with China, it matters. There was a lot of concern going into this meeting about the East-West divide and where the U.S. relationship with China would go. The tone ultimately was more conciliatory than confrontational, you know, with the U.S. president saying there would be no new Cold War. Did that come as a true relief to you?
A huge sigh of relief, and we believe the historic meeting between President Biden and President Xi is highly anticipated, and it went very well. I had the privilege to uh, send off President Biden, and he was very delighted. He mentioned that he really would like to stay longer here in Bali, if possible, because of his villa is by the beach, and
Right.
we
A piece
really support his statement to actually recover the tourism and creative economy here.
Yeah, the peaceful setting you believe led to a somewhat more peaceful outcome. That's a good point to make. But let me ask you this: I mean, you are, of course, Indonesia's tourism minister, and tourism is a pillar of Indonesia's economy, and also one that is highly vulnerable to climate change. Do you think the G20 has done enough to address what countries like Indonesia are facing specifically on that front?
Yes, I think the pictures that we are seeing on the screen is not only symbolic, but the mangrove planting actually concrete actions that we need to do more as G20 to deliver our net zero strategies. We haven't been really collaborating that much in terms of how we could offset the carbon emissions and footprints among these G20 countries. And I believe having the transitions to green energy have allowed us to focus more on how we could accelerate the transformations, whereby we also focus on how we create good quality jobs that is focusing on the sustainability. So it's a start. It's a good start. It's also a very nice collaborations for the mangrove planting, and it's also a
Okay.
new sets of concrete collaborations to move forward between the G20 countries.
Okay. Sandiago Uno, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for spending the time with us on the Newsmakers. Greatly appreciate it.